Coming up later tonight, the Bee Lady stings. Hull's Jean Bishop thwarts the local criminal masterminds. But first on HWT, it's the series finale of Jack's Night In.
When you're locked in the house and there's nothing to do, come to Jack's bedroom where he'll entertain you. It's Jack's Night In. It's Jack's Night In. It's Jack's Night In.
It's the final episode. Yes, welcome to this, the final episode of the first series of Jack's Night In. And I just know you're all sat at home thinking, oh, thank God for that. No, you're thinking, finally. No, you're thinking, oh, what a shame it's ending. Yes, what a shame indeed. We've come a long way, but we're not too sure where we've been. We've had success, we've had good times, but remember this. I dreamed a dream of time gone by. Let's talk about 6, baby. I said 6, not sex. Yes, as this is episode 6, that means this has been going on for 6 weeks. 6 weeks! I mean, it seems like yesterday I was sat at my computer saying I should do a weekly entertainment show from my bedroom. I should do an online show every week from my bedroom. And then immediately I realised that was a tremendously stupid idea. That is a tremendously stupid idea. Right, I think we've done enough of that joke now. You're not going to cut to me anymore, are you? Good. Ruth Langsford goes commando. My lockdown is mainly consisting of eating burgers and chips and drinking lots of beer. So I cannot wait to get back to normality where I'll be eating burgers and chips and drinking lots of beer. Also, the nation has gone pub quiz mad. Absolutely mad for it. Everyone's doing it. Every man and his dog is doing a pub quiz. No one was interested in it before all this. The only people that were interested in it were weirdos and OAPs. Or, as I like to call them, me and my mates. That was it. They were the only ones. Because doing it online is not the same, is it? It's not the same as going into a real pub. Going into them doors, seeing all the teams in the little crevices. Oh, I miss that. Just everyone sat with a piece of paper, all the shit quiz team names on the top, and there'd always be some work experienced kid at the bar on the mic reading out the questions. And it'd always be questions that didn't make sense. Who invented kettle chips? And he always had a mic that didn't work. Hello everybody, it's time for the quiz. I tell you what I don't miss, it's the old people getting angry at me whenever I got a question right. They didn't like that one bit. They'd just be like, how did you know that? I just watched an episode of TV's Most Embarrassing Moments once. And everyone's communicating now. They're all on their WhatsApps and messaging groups. On these WhatsApp groups, they used to consist of men bragging to other men about how many women they've kissed that week. Not anymore. They're bragging, but just about how many points they got on the pub quiz. Lads, got 42 this week. Just don't tell Sharon. So some of you watching this might not have a clue who I am. You're looking at me thinking, why isn't he ironed his shirt? Why does he look a bit like an unemployed dentist? And why on earth is he stood in front of a poster of his own face in his bedroom? All good questions, but don't worry about the answers. You're probably thinking, have I got any credentials? I have been on TV before. I didn't want to brag about it before this episode, but I have been on TV in the past. Here's some of my TV credentials. I was once on The One Show in 2016. And I was on this episode of Jack's Night In. And I was on this episode of Jack's Night In. I was on Have I Got News For You Lockdown Special last week. I'm on Have I Got News For You? Oh shit, I'm on Ian's team. A star in the making. So without further ado, let's have a look at what's coming up on the final episode of Jack's Night In. Roofy. Coming up in today's final episode of Jack's Night In, it's all the regular features in the bath with Jack, Check-in with Ed, and the ever-popular Gameshow game, which this week features a very special guest. And speaking of special guests, for the last episode, we've gone all out. We've got magic comedy legend Alan Hudson to show some tricks, and also British comedy royalty Miles Jupp. Yeah, the actual Miles Jupp, joining me on the final episode of Jack's Night In. So I hope you enjoy it. Where did I put that tissue? Wow, what a fantastic episode we got coming up for you this week. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. And as always, we start with my favourite feature in the bath with Jack, where I get in the bath and read out your viewer questions. So, let's begin with In the Bath with Jack! Welcome back to In the Bath with Jack, where you join me, Jack, in the bath for one final time. This is like the bit in the Titanic, you know, where the ship is sinking and they're playing the music. And I suppose the ship sinking is much like a metaphor for this show. So let's have a look at the final questions you have sent in for me to read out. Now, week in, week out, all two of you have been sending in lots of questions. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for that. I'm going to read out the last ones for you now. Okay. Jack, have you enjoyed all your guests? Yes, I have enjoyed every single guest that's been on the show. And if you're watching this thinking, what guests? I've not seen any guests. Catch up on the rest of the series now. I mean, seriously, go do it now. Go on. Welcome back. Question number 2. Have you got a lot of wigs? Have I got a lot of wigs? Now, that is referring to the fact that in each episode, I have lots of wigs. I wouldn't say I had a lot of wigs. I'd probably say I have more than is normal for a man in his mid-20s. So yeah, not a lot really. Question number 3. I've really enjoyed the series. Thank you very much. Will there be a second one? And that is from Jack Gleadow. Thank you very much, Jack. There will be a second one. So if there is any commissioners watching, get in touch. Please get in touch. Definitely. I've got a lot of free time on my hands. Question number 4. Jack, what have your favourite bits from In the Bath with Jack been? Well, my favourite bits from In the Bath with Jack have been this. Have you got any live DVDs to sell? Yes, I have got some live DVDs to sell. I've got Ricky Gervais, Harry Hill, Peter Kay, and Lee Evans. Selling all of them for $5 each. So if you give me a message, I'll send one to you. And this bit, this is a genuine one. Well, Steve asked if I still do magic. Now, for those of you that don't know, before I did all this, whatever this is, I used to be a magician. Here's a clip of me doing magic when I was a kid.
The great apple trick. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to make this apple disappear. 1, 2, 3, ta-da! And the apple has completely disappeared.
But Steve, your question was, do I still do magic? No, not anymore. And who can forget? I like big butts and I cannot lie. Why's that bit in there? That was my private bath time. Who's put that in?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I've really enjoyed every single minute of filming In the Bath with Jack. And filming actually leads us on to our final question. Because every week we are asked this question, but I thought I'd leave it to the last episode to reveal the answer. It is, how is In the Bath with Jack filmed? Very good question, and I'll tell you how it's filmed. Now, basically, we have a cameraman that's filming me while I do it. But Dad, there's no reason for you to be having a shit while we do this. So that concludes In the Bath with Jack. Dad, can you flush that for God's sake? Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all very soon. It's that part of the show where we catch up with my friend Ed. Every week we've been checking in with him to see how he's doing in all this lockdown madness. In episode 1 he told us...
Hey, things are great, Jack.
In episode 2 he said...
Hey, great, thanks.
In episode 3 he said...
Well, if I'm honest, they're okay.
In episode 4 he said...
Things are fine.
In episode 5 he said... Now, a few of you have messaged in to say I don't really give Ed much time to speak. But it's my show, innit? It's not his. But I agree with you. I should really give him a bit longer to speak. So as this is the final episode, I'm going to allow him to talk for as long as he wants. About anything. 2 hours if he wants. So for one final time, let's check in with Ed. All right, Ed. How are you doing? Ed? Ed? Ah well, he had his chance. Didn't even like him that much anyway. In each show, we usually have a music guest that comes on, chats to me for a bit, and then sings one of their songs. But for the final one, I've ripped out the rulebook, and instead of a musician, I've got a magician. Yeah, magician. Sounds, it's similar, isn't it? Similar enough. And my magic guest is absolutely brilliant. He's the fantastic comedy magician, Alan Hudson. You might have seen him on Penn and Teller Foolers, ITV's Next Great Magician, or The Secret Zoom. Yes, it's his new project where you can book him to do private magic parties for you and your friends. Really funny and really interactive, so I recommend that. Talks about a bit in this interview, and he also tells me a story and shows me a magic trick. So, let's meet the fantastic magic guest, Mr. Alan Hudson!
Hello, I don't know why I'm waving. Hello, as if we'd not just been chatting for 5 minutes before we started this.
Yeah, all right, Alan, don't ruin the magic. Bloody hell. Speaking of magic, though, you are a magician, Alan, and are you missing travelling all over the country? Because now you're having to do your shows online.
Yeah, well, the great thing is about doing these Zoom shows that I've been doing is as soon as you finish, like the worst bit of a gig, right, is everyone knows the worst bit of the gig is the travel. And then you have to get there early because you don't want to be late. So let's say it starts at 7:30. You can't rock up at, I mean, I know some people do, but, you know, I've got shit to set up. So, you know, I've got magic stuff I'm talking about, not just my own shit. So I've got stuff to set up. So I'll get there a couple of hours early, especially if it's a corporate or something like that. And then you, by the time you pack away and you chat to the promoter and go, oh, have you got any more gigs and stuff at the end and all of that. And then, yeah, you don't get home till, you know, however long. Whereas this, you finish the gig and then you go, right, that's me done. End meeting.
Now, Alan, I've seen some of your solo shows and they're great, but not just magic in them. It's the stories you tell about the times where magic has gone wrong.
Yeah, do you know what? So I told this story about my first job on a cruise ship, and do you know what? I can do the trick for you actually, because I've got a deck of cards here, right? So this was supposed to be the trick, right? So imagine this deck of cards was in my pocket, so in my jacket pocket. This is the very first job I had on a ferry. So Harwich to Hamburg, 21 times. I went from to Hamburg over a summer, and this is my first night. So they booked me for the summer season. First night, first trick. I went, hello, I'm Alan Hudson, and I was about 21 at this point. I went, gentleman in the front row, what's your name? He didn't reply. I went, what's your name? No reply. And then I thought, oh, maybe he doesn't speak English, maybe he's German, maybe his English not bad. So I just went to the woman next to him. I went, what's your name? And then she spoke the same level of English as him because they were together. Right? And I went, forget that. Think of a card for me and shout it out loud. Of course, she didn't understand that either, obviously. So then I went to the next person. I went, can you think of a card? Can you think of a card? Can you? Right, until eventually, after about 5 minutes, I got someone. They went, I've got one. I went, oh God, right, brilliant. And I went, what's the card you're thinking of? And he went, the 2 of diamonds. And I thought I could save this with a trick. So, and the trick is this: you pull out a deck and then you sort of spread it out, and the 2 of diamonds is the only one turned over. Right, it's a brilliant, brilliant trick. And I went into my pocket and I went, I haven't got the deck of cards with me because I'd left it in the dressing room, right over there. So, and all the bosses were watching me as well on this thing. And I thought, I've got to do this trick because it's taken me so long to get someone to name a card. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll just go and get the deck, right? So I went into the dressing room, got the deck. I went, oh God, I've got it. And I went, and it took me about a minute to find it, by the way, as well, in the dressing room. So there's nothing going on stage. And then I came back and went, what was the card? 2 of diamonds. And then I spread through it, and the 2 of diamonds was turned over. And then afterwards, people went, well, you just turned it over in the dressing room, didn't you? Which is absolutely fair enough, right? I didn't do that, but that is absolutely fair enough. And yeah, so I was telling the story in the show, and then I would do the trick. So do you want me to do the trick with you now? So it like the thing. So I went to think of a card, any card you like. And I will say this, Ace of Spades is the easy one. Everyone tends to go for that, so you might want to avoid it. And I want you to remember, this doesn't go out of shot at any time. So it's not like one of those, just put it down for a second before I do this. So it's not like one of those tricks where, let's say I've got a different thing there, I've got like, 2 cards, and I go, right, what's the card you're thinking of? Right there, I go, okay. Right. It's not that, right? So I'm going to keep it in the middle the whole time. So think of a card, any card you like, go on.
8 of clubs.
8 of clubs. Do you want to change your mind?
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
5 of diamonds. No, I've just seen that. No, 8 of clubs. 8 of clubs.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. This is incredible. Watch. Before we started this Zoom, I turned over 1 card in this deck and 1 card only. We didn't set this up genuinely.
No, we didn't, no.
But the 1 card turned face up just happens to be the 8 of clubs. What?
I think you're doing something really creative with these online Zoom shows. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Well, it's technically not my idea. A couple of other magicians have done this, and it's the idea of just doing a show, but like this. So it's like I just did that trick for you. Like you can do a show. So what I do is I've set up a page. There's people that are having Zoom get-togethers that have been doing like quizzes, and then they're getting a bit bored of them, and team meetings where there's like 30 people that have got to stay in contact all around the country, but they don't really know each other. So 30 people on Zoom that don't know each other well is a bit awkward. So people are booking me to come on and say, oh, you do your show for half an hour, and then we can have the last 10 minutes, up to the 40 minutes, because I'm still on the free version. They can have another 10 minutes chat afterwards, and that can be it. And it stops us all from having to really talk to each other, but it feels like we've kept in touch. Or families are doing it for birthdays and stuff like that, and they can invite 10 of their friends from other houses, and everyone logs on. I send them all a link. They all log on at the same time. And the great thing is, all the gigs start on time, because if the link is for 5 o'clock, right, they've got to be on it a minute or two. Otherwise, they know it's going to start at 5. It finishes at past.
It's time for the Game Show game! Yes, it's the part of the show where we play a random, nonsensical game show game. Now, usually we have a celebrity guest that comes in and explains the rules of the game show game. In the past, we've had Tom Jones. It's not unusual. Paul Daniels. That's magic! And Neil Buchanan. Van or Vans? Is that Van? It's very stressful. Van? Is Neil still in the shed? Yeah. It's not looking good, is it? I can confirm that Neil Buchanan is in full recovery. But this week we haven't got a celebrity guest because we've got a special guest playing the game show game. We've invited them all the way from France. They're just one of the viewers of this show. So, without further ado, I should explain the rules of this week's game. The game is very simple. It's all about this series. So if you've been watching Jack's Night In, you'll know all the answers. If you don't know any of the answers, then why haven't you been watching the series? You've literally had nothing else to do with your life for the past 6 weeks. So, for one final time, let's introduce the game show game! Hello, yes, welcome to this, the final Game Show Games, where we are joined with one of our esteemed viewers. Yes, we've broken all protocol and lockdown rules to bring one of our viewers here. We're not at a 2 metre distance, but don't worry, because this is just TV. So you are from France, one of our viewers from France for this show?
Yeah.
Lovely. And have you been watching the show?
No.
No? Okay, that might not help with the quiz. And we've never met before, have we, Pierre?
No, son.
Dad, you're supposed to keep up the... take them off. Right, Dad, here we go. So, if you'd have kept that on for a bit longer, we'd have got away with that. Right.
Sure we would.
Right. So, Dad, have you been watching Jack's Night In?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. What thoughts on the show?
Good, yeah, good. You did well.
Thanks,
yeah.
Dad.
It's all right.
It's all right. I didn't put that in the script. Right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions about Jack's Night In. If you've been an eagle-eyed viewer, these are questions that we've had throughout the series, and you've got to pick on specific points. So you've got 10 questions. We haven't really got a time limit on this, just as long as it takes you to answer all 10. Okay?
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Wait, don't look at your wall, camera.
You look at me, all the camera, it's up to you. Here we go. No, question number 1. Who was the big interview guest on episode 2?
Episode 2, the big interview guest was... oh, shit.
I mean... Oh?
Danny.
It was not Danny, it was Barbara Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Question
nice
2.
Woman.
Wrong so far. Question 2. In the Bath with Jack is filmed every week in the bath. But how many baths have I had in April?
What, proper baths?
Proper baths, yeah.
None.
No, I have had 2 baths in April.
Yeah.
2 baths in April. And you've had none. So that's why you've said that. Episode 3. Episode 3, I revealed I had a pen that what? In episode 3, I revealed that I had a pen that what?
Pass.
Pass, okay. It was I had a pen that talked. Clip.
Oh, yeah.
Clip here.
Yeah.
I've got a pen that talks. I've got a pen that talks. But all it says is yeah. Question number 4. What colour top was I wearing in episode 4?
Red.
Red. No, it was actually green in episode 4.
Yeah.
Episode 3 was red. And anyone that has been truly watching would have known that. Question number 5. The next 4 questions you've got to finish the titles of the game show game. So every week the game show game has been a different game, and this is finishing the title of those games. Okay, 5. Kelly or
Nelly.
correct. Madonna or
Maradona.
correct. Van or
no, pass.
Vans. Fairly, you just add an S onto that. Episode 8. No, not episode 8. Question 8. Sorry. Hull or
Dull.
null.
Oh,
Near enough.
I can nearly see the question.
You can see I don't know why I stuck that this close. But if you have seen the question, why haven't you seen the answers?
I've been fiddling. I've been looking away.
Okay. Pasquale or Kylie. Okay. Now, question number 10, the final question. In the last episode, who explained the game show game incorrectly and then was chucked out of the window? Who was chucked out of the window?
Elvis.
Elvis wasn't even in the last episode, Dad. Thanks for watching. No, that was in fact Susan Boyle. So out of 10 questions, you got 3, which were pretty obvious since all you had to do was something that rhymed with the title of the game show.
That's all right, yeah. That's good for me.
Very good for you, Dad. Thanks for taking part in the game show game. Back to Jack in my bedroom.
Au revoir.
It's time for the big interview! And boy, are we ending on a big one. As the actress said to the Bishop, yes, my final guest on Jack's Night In is the brilliant Mr. Miles Jupp, British comedy legend. You might have seen Miles on some of the biggest panel shows, stand-up shows, sitcoms, Hollywood films, radio. This guy really has done it all, and it was a privilege to chat with him for a bit. This interview actually took over an hour, so we've had to edit it down, but there will be a fuller version out on YouTube at a later date. But for now, it's an honour to introduce Mr. Miles Jupp. Hello, Miles.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What, do you like that comedy royalty? I think you winced a bit there when I said that.
I was slightly taken aback. I wondered if you'd tried to book somebody else and had written a script for them in advance, and then just thought, well, I'll leave it for him. He'll be flattered. That's very nice of you to say. Yeah.
Well, my friend described you perfectly. He said you're like a comedy polymath, and I googled what polymath went, and then and I agreed with him because you're someone who's kind of done everything, like panel shows, sitcoms, films, theatre shows. Is there anything you haven't said yes to?
Oh, well, recently I've turned down some podcasts because there's a fairly relentless thirst for them at the moment in the lockdown, and you get to a point where you think, I will absolutely break. If I describe my daily routine one more time over the internet, I might pass out. Not least because it's completely fictionalized. I said no to. Hey, I tell you something I said no to, and then I did end up working with the guy. A few years ago, I went for an audition for a film, and I auditioned for the part. This says everything about my range. It was like an unnamed part. The character didn't have a name. He was called Angry Man, right? And it was a guy in a hotel reception kicking off about something. So I learned the lines, practiced it. Went into the audition, was, as I thought, an angry man, and I should have been able to, because in real life I have a proper temper. Anyway, I did my performance as Angry Man, and a week later I got an email from my agent saying that I hadn't got the part I auditioned for, but I'd been offered another part in the film, and that character had the name Impotent Man. And I did turn that down. In fact, not only was he an impotent man, he was an impotent man advertised on television. So when he would be speaking in the film, there actually would be a caption saying "impotent man" across the bottom of the screen, and I thought, I can't do that. Oh, there was someone else. Oh yeah, I went to a table read for something, and they offered me a part in it. And if I hadn't gone to the table read, I'd have said yes to it, because I'd been to the table read. I knew the part they were offering me, despite it having a cool name, was somebody who was wearing a mask, so you couldn't see his face anyway, and he had one line, which was a cry he let out after he'd been kicked in the bollocks. So I thought, I can't. That's no way to spend an afternoon. But I don't know. I mean, the decisions aren't always artistically made, to be perfectly honest. I mean, one has a fridge to fill and a mortgage to pay and that sort of stuff. So I mean, sometimes I think, oh God, that is absolutely not my sort of thing. But yeah, I'll do that.
The comedy circuit comes with a lot of like mythology and stories. And I've heard a story that I don't know is true. And it's attributed to involve you. Don't worry, I'm not going to bring on some illegitimate love child.
Yeah.
It's Billy Joel turning up to a gig one time. Is this true? Do you know about this?
Billy Joel?
Yeah. See, I didn't think it was true when I. There's a story goes where you're emceeing a gig and Billy Joel turns up asking to go on, and then you introduced Billy Joel, who came on and did a gig.
I wonder if that's one of those things where, like in an interview or something, they say, tell us something exciting that's happened at a gig, and you think, yeah, I have to say that, one, the chances of Billy Joel coming to a gig that I was doing are very rare. The chance of that coinciding I mean, frankly, me as an MC. So you've already got an idea of what sort of gig it would be. No, that doesn't happen. I mean, yeah, I like the idea that people think it would, and that I'd have the wherewithal to think, oh wow, I could introduce Billy Joel. Well, even if that did happen, I'd probably think, well, I think that's Billy Joel. Doing. I have done a gig. Stefan Dennis from Neighbours was in the audience once. Paul Robinson, who owned Lassiter's complex. Yeah, no, never Billy Joel. That'd be amazing.
Maybe that's what people are getting mixed up of, Billy Joel and Stefan from EastEnders, Neighbours.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry that's not true though. Yeah, I wonder if it has happened. Well, I wonder if it has happened to someone else though, and they deserve the thing. Someone was telling me a story the other night saying, "Oh, I love that story," and I said, "That isn't me. I've got no knowledge of that."
I think that's it. It just gets passed around in the dressing room, and then someone will mishear a name, and it'll probably become someone else's. So it probably starts in truth, a lot of these things, doesn't it?
I remember hearing a story about, I think it was Prince playing a sort of big gala show in Newcastle, and Dave Johns was in the wings or whatever, and they'd all been said, look, you can't, no eye contact, no, everyone keep your distance or whatever, sort of pre-quarantine kind of rider, obviously, but it was all like just about treating this gentleman with the utmost respect, really. And when he's performing, he's completely in the zone. And just before he walked out, Dave Johns patting him on the shoulder and going, "All right, son, keep it tight." Now, I've no idea if that's the case or not, but in a way, these stories, once they get there, they don't matter, do they? remember seeing David Niven's son being interviewed on something, and the interviewer saying, I mean, just amazing stories your father had. And he goes, well, eventually they were amazing stories. Yeah, I've heard those stories for many years, and they've got a lot longer. And I kind of think that's all right, really.
Are you enjoying being at home though now? I suppose you're at home a lot more than you usually.
Yeah, well, I was away all year, really. I did this tour of I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue in January, and then I've been rehearsing a play. I would have opened a few days ago doing the Comedy of Errors at the RSC, and we just finished the London rehearsals, and we were about to have 2 weeks off and then go to Stratford, and then that was we were sort of sent home, really. And that would have opened, a few days ago. So that's an enormous period that I've actually been at home that I wouldn't otherwise have been. And I was talking to my wife yesterday, and we were saying, I've never been at home for this long, ever. And it's kind of really nice. I just really enjoy being around people. If someone says, can we go and, play football in the garden or play cricket in the garden or whatever, you think, yeah, God, we can, can't we? One gets so, bogged down sometimes with sort of just doing stuff and faff that, people ask you if you could do something, you're like, I can't do it now because I just got to do this thing. I've got to find a form and scan it and send it to the Inland Revenue or whatever. But at the moment, you're like, yeah, why not? Let's do that. Yeah. So I'm kind of enjoying that, but I'm, there's a sort of world out there where like awful things are happening, and you've been told just keep the door shut. So within that kind of context, you think, well, let's try and enjoy it, really. So I am. I mean, what's your setup? Are you in a house share? Are you? How many of you are where you are? How many people are you locked down with?
I'm locked down with 4. My mum, dad, and my brother. So it's all right. It's quite nice. It's really. I'm really lucky, actually. I don't have to do much. My food's all in the fridge when I wake up. My tea's made. It's heaven.
Do you contribute in any way?
Let's move on.
Do you ever find yourself saying, I tell you what, why don't I just run the Hoover round?
No, I mean, it's getting done anyway, so it'd be nice to offer, wouldn't it? But I mean...
Yeah. But no, I can see, perhaps you don't do these things to an acceptably high standards, and they'd be like, oh, you know what, I'm really worried that the lockdown will last so long that Jack will start offering to do stuff, and then, imagine if he started doing the laundry. I mean, what would happen? It may be that you're being deliberately kept in a kind of safe space by the people that love you, because they're like, what's the least damage you can do? Why doesn't he do a show in his bedroom? let's ask him to do that rather than like him carrying any valuable crockery.
Yeah, they'll do the show, but they just hear these weird noises coming out and weird sounds, and me running across the landing dressed as Susan Boyle, thinking, leave him to his own thing. Whatever he's doing in there, it's clearly keeping him sane.
Yeah. Jack, could you possibly, it would be really helpful if you just, I'm just worried that the washing's been in slightly too long, and if you could hang it out, I can't really, because what I was going to do is just dress up as Susan Boyle and run backwards and forwards across the landing. Do you know what? Fair enough, Jack. We can just put it on again. Don't worry. Doesn't worry if it goes off. My mate wrote that musical. What was it called? Was it called I Dreamed a Dream? The Susan Boyle, the musical about the life of Susan Boyle.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, really nice guy. Alan McHugh, who I did pantomime in Aberdeen with in 2005, and who was the Dame, and who would make me laugh continually. And I was quite sloppy and unprofessional then. And I remember like about the third night, and this is inexcusable, in front of about 1,200 people, I realised I was playing Simple Simon. He was going, Simon. And I looked at him, he was going, Simon. And I clearly had a line, and I'd obviously, my mind had drifted so much. I don't know how it could have done that, but you're like, I don't know what, it's like 900 people or 1,200 people or something, but you're going, I don't know what time this finishes. I think I've just got time to go to the Asda that's open quite late, and then I could get some of those sort of quite nice sort of microwavable steam things that that is what I'm going to do actually. I wonder if I can walk or if I could get Simon. And I looked at him and he went, wouldn't it be a good idea if we did such and such? And I was so out of it that rather than improvising something useful and doing the sort of silly voice I was doing for Simon, I went, Sorry, Alan, I'm completely lost focus. And I just remember him going, and he then turned to the audience and did something really funny. And he just in the wings, he's going, I can't believe you did that. You didn't even make any attempt to. I go, no, sorry, Alan, I'm so sorry. Completely lost focus. What is it? It was just appalling. And I don't know why I'd share with you that level of disgracefulness on stage. But I think it's near the forefront of my mind because if ever I speak to him, he brings it up within about 90 seconds of one of us answering the phone. I'm just ringing to remind you of that time that you completely dropped the fucking ball, you idiot. Yeah.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. Thank you so much for watching Jack's Night In. I mean, Michael Ball, he ain't going to have a job soon if I can sing like this. Captain Tom, I'm getting in touch. Me and you'll bring out a single. Thank you so much for watching this series. It really means a lot. It's been loads of fun making this over the past 6 weeks, and it's been a learning curve for me, and probably a learning curve for you. You probably sat at home wishing that it's not going to end, but don't worry, we will be back bigger and better. And I'm not just talking about my hair. But what have we learned? Sod all, but we've had a laugh. And that really is the main thing during these trying times. So I will see you all very, very soon. Have a wonderful time, and thank you for watching Jack's Night In. Have a wonderful time. Not the best thing to say, is it?
When you're locked in the house and there's nothing to do, come to Jack's bedroom where he'll entertain you. It's Jack's Night In. It's Jack's Night In. It's Jack.